Here we go.
Let's do it.
And welcome back to Dragons Live on this good afternoon Monday, right here on KMSC 1500 AM radio on the campus of Minnesota State University, Moorhead. This is Dragons Live in studio with me, Chase Miller. We got Collin Boyles, John Webbie, as he is known right there on Dragons Athletics TV on YouTube. You can also catch us right now live and see what's happening in the studio. And guys, right when we turned on the light, we had a light go out, so it's a little dark today, but I think that's showing promise for what's coming up this weekend with Alumni Night, Fieldhouse, meaning the crowd should be packed up to the rafters, and you should not be seeing a lot of light besides on the basketball court coming up on Friday and Saturday night. Am I correct?
Oh, man, it is going to be such a good weekend. You could talk about the prizes and stuff that I do and whatever that is, but the coolest part is the playoff picture. Where every team's in the hunt. There's just good basketball. I mean, we've been playing phenomenal at home. Close games. Fridays on TV on Mid-Continent Sports Network, and we've always had great crowds for that to come in and get a little crazy with the TV crews there. But we've had the overtime finish against Upper Iowa on TV, and the down to the wire game against Northern on Go Pink Night, which was probably the highest attended game I think I've seen since I've been here, including the Fieldhouse last year. But this year we've got not only the teams and the basketball and to get the people there to watch the game itself, but we're doing promotions like never before. Buffalo Wild Wings is coming in Friday night for Alumni Night, and that's going to be a lot of. They're going to see some wing eating contests. There'll be a 3-on-3 wing eating contest.
Is that with the really hot sauce, or is that like I can chicken out and take the mild sauce?
I think it's just mild.
Okay.
I think it's just mild. I'll have to check on that. But there'll be wing eating contests. There'll be obviously a wildest fan of the game for each game where you'll get 25 wings. They're giving out. They've got an insert inside of all the programs that's going to have like free wings or something on it. And
there you go.
I mean, there's just
those.
Yeah. I'm glad we're the ones stuffing it. That's right. I'm not glad we're stuffing it because it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of paper cuts. But I'm glad that we can put a few in the pockets. But they've got chicken races, chicken dance contests for wings and sweatshirts and beer glasses that you can put beverages in. And there's
Coke beverages, right?
That's
Coke
right.
and Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Okay,
we're Pepsi.
Okay, Pepsi affiliate. I won't say the C word anymore.
Pepsi.
Yeah, we're all Pepsi. But there's going to be a lot of fun stuff from the Buffalo Wild Wings side. Alumni is going to come and give away some door prizes.
Right.
Games Galore is going to be there again with the dunk hoop, which is always a lot of fun, and slide for the kids. And it's going to be one hell of a night.
Yeah.
There's no other way to say it. But it is just going to be a great night. And
maybe we'll see if it. Oh, it does. Okay.
We got a caller.
Well, Colin, you want to pick that one up.
Oh yeah.
Pick that up. Pick up the phone. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Answer it.
That's right.
See who it is.
Gotta take your headphone off.
See what they're talking about.
It's so complicated.
See who it is.
Hi, welcome to Dragons Live. Nothing?
Nobody
here?
All right, maybe.
Call the
maybe
2115.
Well, there you go. Yeah, call it 477-2115 if you want to get back on right here with Dragons Live with me, Collin, and Webbie. But right now, let's talk about before they call back in, or if they do call back in, more the merrier. Let's talk about this past weekend and what happened on the men's and women's side. First off, let's start with the men, and you look at the standings right now, and it's crazy. They can have a chance to be number one seed in the NSIC tournament, or they control their own destiny, really, and they can be a number 2 seed. If they win 2 in a row, they get a little bit of help from Concordia St. Paul, who is going to be playing St. Cloud State, a team that's a half game right now ahead of the Dragons for that number 1 seed. You got Bemidji State, who's currently tied with the Dragons. Dragons on them, though, on the tiebreaker.
Yes,
they play Upper Iowa and Winona State this coming weekend, and then Southwest Minnesota State, who's just a half game behind. They play against Minnesota State University of Mankato, the Mavericks, in that one. So it's a top 4 game. We'll see what happens. But Collin, do you want to tell me a little bit about what can we expect this weekend for Fieldhouse against Augie, and then also when they play against Wayne State?
Yeah, definitely. I know that if we pretty much hold our own destiny. Coach Walthall told his team after this past weekend
live on the radio
that
Dragons
they
Live.
control their own destiny. 2 wins and we guarantee at least a co-championship. Like you said, we need help from Concordia St. Paul. If they can take down St. Cloud there, then we can, with the 2 wins that we need, we can get the first place there. But there's a lot of scenarios that can happen, a lot of stuff that can go on. So it's almost too tough to tell what exactly it's going to end up as,
And Concordia St. Paul, they're currently sitting 9th at 8-3 in the conference, 11-14 overall. And they also need a little bit of help if they want to get in because they only play 1 game against Northern State. They're currently a game behind Northern State, and if they get a win, obviously they're playing for their playoff lives too. So we know that it's not like a team that's Minnesota Crookston, for example, who's going into the last weekend and knows that they can't get any farther. So if you're a senior, you want to go out with a bang. But this team really has a chance to, possibly be the 8th seed and try to get into, the NSIC tournament. That could be a team that the Dragons might be facing if St. Cloud State does lose to them. So we don't know who they're going to be facing right now. If everything ended today, they'd be facing Duluth. But if they get the 1 seed, maybe they'll face Northern State or Concordia St. Paul, so we'll see what happens on that one. But this past weekend, Colin, they played against Winona State in Upper Iowa. A nice win against Winona State, but earlier during the week on Tuesday it came out that a player, Grant Johnson, will be ineligible for the remainder of the season. The Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference came up, and they said they're going to recalculate the team's formula a little bit on this one. They're going to use ranking process called nullification. The process is an account to season for stats and adjusts how many games or how many minutes he actually did have a chance to play and affect the team's win-loss ratio. And the Winona State team, they were a team that was, in the top half of the conference. 18-2, overall 23-3 right now with the loss to the Dragons. But that's what they were. They were going to be the number 1 seed. Yeah. The Dragons were fighting for a 2 or 3 seed. Now they're the 5th seed currently with their recalculation and their winning percentage. So with the Dragons, they didn't have to play against him, but the Dragons took care of business anyway, winning 90-72, Colin. Anytime you put up 90 points on the road, that's a big win. That's back-to-back years they went down into Winona State and beat them their home court.
That's right. Just a big win. Winona State, they've got to be coming off of some transition, trying to figure out, okay, so now we lost one of our star players, so how are we going to regroup? How are we going to kind of game plan around that? And, they have been one of the top teams in the nation, number 3 when we went in there and beat them. And, it's just going to take time for them. And, they better come up with it quick, though, if they want to get far in the playoffs,
Yep, and we'll get Webbie on here. And Webbie, before the show, I was talking to you about this a little bit, and we were talking about what's the chances of them being in the NSIC tournament, or therefore, this is a team that we all thought was probably going to host a region for the NCAA tournament. What does that mean for Winona State, and what does that mean for the Dragons if, let's say, does this mean the Dragons, if they win their next 2 games and they win out the NSIC tournament, can they possibly host a region, or if St. Cloud State does it, so they don't have to travel to Colorado, or what's the scoop?
There's not a chance that we can host a regional. That'll go out to Colorado for the men.
Okay.
There is still a chance for Winona. They haven't really figured out exactly how they're going to handle the situation. We talked about the nullification, and it's based on winning percentage, and that's a difficult situation. But they're not quite finished with that, and the rulings on that, whether or not they're going to let them compete in the tournament, is still up to them. I have no idea how they're going to rule, and that's as soon as we're told what the ruling is, that's what it is.
Right.
And they'll be as fair as they possibly can to both parties. So, we'll find out, and as soon as we find out, we'll let you know the whole playoff picture. And I know Colin talked a little bit about it, but the Dragons really do, and you can say all the other things that are going on outside of the Dragons, but they do control their own destiny, and we found that out Saturday night, unfortunately, when they lost to Upper Iowa. That's the one part about controlling your own destiny. It's yours to lose. And so what would have put us a half a game ahead of St. Cloud now puts us a half a game behind.
Right.
So missed a great opportunity there. But, Concordia St. Paul, every team in this league has been tough all year long, and, Concordia St. Paul proved it to us that they're a team that can definitely knock off a good team on any given night. And hopefully we get a little help from them in taking St. Cloud out. We can get a couple of wins over 2 very good teams in Augie and Wayne.
And St. Cloud State lost to the University of Mary that night when we lost to Upper Iowa. So I mean, University of Mary team was beat the Dragons one time, took them to all that they could handle here at NEPSIC.
Yeah.
So I mean, even though they're a bottom 8 team, you could say in the NSIC, any given weekend you never know. And the Dragons got a piece of that a little bit on Saturday night, but
and they almost lost to Northern the night before. I don't know if you guys talked about it, but I mean, blew a big lead to barely take him at the end of the game. I mean, we even losing to Upper Iowa, we could have still had a half game lead. I mean, it was a rough weekend for St. Cloud.
Yeah,
let's just put it
and let's
that way.
Hopefully it keeps to be rough for this next weekend for the Dragons if they can get a 1 seed. But let's talk about the games now. The first game, 90-72 over Winona State, and a couple key eye-popping stats that came out to me was they shot from 40% from beyond the arc, 53% from the field in general, 76% from the free throw line, 16 of 21. Alex Novak with 18 rebounds in the game with eight points. I mean, we talk about Novak being the rebound guy. I mean, you just look and there's no one comes close. I mean, the next closest guy is Eric Olson with 6. I mean, that's just crazy. And then you got DJ Hamilton with 23. Charlie Chapman with 19, and Jordan, you want to say his last name for me so I don't get it wrong?
Rever.
There you go, Rever. Catch this stat line, 7 for 8 from the field, 3 for 3 from beyond the arc, 4 for 4 from the line, 21 points in 23 minutes of play offensively. And, I mean, right there you look at it and you say, that's 3 guys in double digits, 3 guys almost with 20 points, 13 turnovers, 10 assists, but overall they shot well from the field and from beyond the arc, and that one they limited Winona State to just under 30% shooting from beyond the 3. So what did you guys see in that Winona State game that makes you really ready to go for when they play against Augie and when they play against Wayne State for this next weekend? Before they're for surely in the NSIC tournament. We know that. Now it's just whether or not they're hosting and what team they'll be playing against.
Yeah, one thing I got to point out is what helped them build the lead is I'm looking at my phone right now, 22 points off of turnovers in the first half compared to Winona's 2.
Yep.
So that's just a big thing right there. I mean, you build that lead, play consistent ball, solid ball, you can keep that lead throughout. So just got to keep going on with that.
Yeah, well, keeping their own turnovers low is always going to help them. And when you out-rebound teams, there's another category you love to win. And, the assist category you love to win, but rebounding is always big. I mean, it's super big. And it's big against Winona because they're so big and they're so long. And when they were here, they killed us on the offensive glass. Killed us. And so that's, I know when their emphasis in practice, and it ended up paying out for them. And Novak is just an animal.
Yeah.
Just a beast.
I mean,
They out-rebounded him in the game 37-35 in offensive rebounds. Winona State had 11. The Dragons had 9. So, I mean, offensively...
How many did Alex have?
Yeah,
he probably had...
Novak had 4 offensive and 14 defensive boards. So, obviously, if Novak would have gotten into foul trouble, who knows what could have happened.
Yeah, but I mean, limiting their opportunities. I mean, you're taking time of possession away when you're getting those defensive rebounds. You're not allowing them to have more shot opportunities. And when you limit theirs and increase yours, obviously you're going to get more chances to put the ball in the hole, even on an off night. And that's what you're looking for. But Alex is a rebounding machine. He gets, but you don't see in the stat sheet how many times he tips the ball, how many times he...
Yeah, those little things.
Those little tiny things. Or when he's working for position and allows a guard to come in and get an offensive rebound or a defensive rebound. The guy just creates so many things for you inside, and he's scary as can possibly be when you're driving into the middle of that lane. Because he's going to throw into the third row.
Yep, that's
and does it all the time. But Reaver, freshman boy standing up from Staples.
Big game for him. Big game. 21 points in 23 minutes.
I would like to say I'm surprised, but I'm not. Because I know he's that good of a player. I mean, he was starting at the beginning of the year for a reason. The guy can put the ball in the hole. He's a solid defender. Like Coach Walthall said in the postgame interview, he's one of the smartest players he's ever seen. I mean, the kid just knows the game of basketball.
He's only a freshman, right?
That's right. Just give him a few years and we'll see what we have.
He's a little gym rat, too. He's always in there. Every time I pop into the Fieldhouse, he's always shooting around. So hopefully he can get a few more of the new guys to come in with him. But he is definitely going to be a guy for us that's going to play 4 solid years. And we'll probably be having the same discussions that we've been having about Jake Driscoll about him in 4 years.
Right.
I mean, he's going to fill up the basket pretty good from now on, and it's nice because you can take away what DJ does some nights by double teaming, hedging screens a little bit more, switching some stuff up, and really kind of not allowing him to penetrate. And you can get up in Charlie's face a little bit and but you don't have that many defenders where you can get all 3 guards in both posts, and someone's got to step up.
Yep.
And finally, we've seen Vandy do it. We've seen Jake Driscoll do it. We've seen Alex
Just give
do
a
it.
guy a random night and they're going to go for it.
We've got guys that can hurt you on any given night.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that's been keeping us in all of these games and making the big difference from us. I wish it was consistency, and I think Walthall would agree, but it's just people are deciding to turn it on that night because they need to for their team.
Yep. And I'm getting all these stats right here on MSUMDragons.com. So
It's a good place to
I'm
find stats.
not like trying to go to NSIC.com or the Northern Sun. I'm going straight to
MSUM
straight where you can
Dragons,
get the Dragon
Sort of
blood
straight up.
at MSUM Dragons. And
And if you're following some Twitter lists, follow Colin's got our nice little Dragon stats
Yeah.
list. So if you
Yes.
want to find some of the bulleted, really cool stats, you got any Dragon stats for today or from the
Oh
weekend?
my gosh, I don't know about over the weekend. I know that, well, a little fun fact here is on the women's side, actually. I know we're going to be getting into that soon here. So Angie Jetfig has been short of a double-double by 1 rebound 5 different times. So she could have 14, 15 double-doubles on the season right now, and that would be
Kevin
about-
Lovish.
What's that?
Kevin Lovish.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
Jeez.
Just be up like 2nd or 3rd in the nation with double-doubles. So she's been just that close so many times. But she's already done it so many times, too. And
And where's she in the all-time scoring?
all-time scoring, and number 2.
Yeah.
She's got 1,499 total points as a Dragon.
I think number 1's a little out of reach for.
It is.
That's
So-
three. She could drop 300 points.
I mean, yeah, in a couple games, you know.
I'd watch that.
Oh, yeah. Well,
but-
who wouldn't?
And then we also have, I know we talked about it before the show, but Marissa Urnadic becoming a member of the record books in all-time threes made,
That's right.
which is pretty cool to have. Anytime you're talking about records at the end of the year, you
Yep.
know you've got a good team. And we
Yep.
were all scared about the women. I think Coach Nelson and Sobes and Swen would all agree that they were a little scared at the beginning of the season that it was going to be an offer. But they got on the hot streak. Unfortunately, Winona took it away. But they came back the next night, played strong, and now we're talking about records. And that's when you know things are going well for a team, and especially when they're setting those career records for their seniors.
And let's take it back to the men's side one more time before we switch to the women and see where they're at in the standings. The men the next night after beating Winona State finished up 18-5 overall, 14-5 in the NSIC. They lose just by 4 points at Upper Iowa, 76-72, drops them to 14-6 currently in the NSIC, 18-6. They still have a chance if they sweep this weekend to finish off the season, regular season-wise, with a 20-win season, which would be phenomenal for them. But looking at this game, a couple things that just pop out at you right away. From beyond the arc, from the Winona State game, they shot 41%. Upper Iowa just 28%, 5 of 18 from behind the arc. Free throw line, they did magical, 23 for 27, shooting 85%. They shot 42% from the field. But one stat that's going to pop out you as a coach is, again, they had 13 turnovers, only 8 assists. Upper Iowa only had 9 turnovers, but 13 assists. So in a 4-point ball game, you give up 4 more turnovers. That's 8 points or 6 points, or in this case, 4 points that the Dragons really needed at the end of the game. And
What were they for free throws?
free throws, the Dragons were 23 for 27 from the field, and the Upper Iowa shot worse than them, 21 for 28. Upper Iowa shot a little bit worse in everything except for overall field percentage by just 2%. Otherwise, you look at the stat sheet and you go, how did the Dragons not win this game? And then you look at the turnover one and you go, an extra 4 turnovers in a 4-point game. That could be or make or break the difference.
That's why I asked about free throws. You look
Yep.
at free throws first because
Yep.
if you missed, and how many of those were the front ends of a 1-on-1, and yeah, they shot well, so you can't really go there. Rebounding was pretty close. I mean, Dragons came out on top there, but I would say defense. I think they should have played a lot better defensively. And watching that game, that's kind of everyone I talked to's feeling
Yep.
on it is they could have defended a lot better in that. Not giving up so many easy buckets and such a high shooting percentage.
Especially in the second half where they gave up
Second
48 points and compared to the first half, 28.
Yeah, they were doing really well that first half, and you're not going to get anything handed to you.
No,
not in this league, and that they had to find that out the hard way. But it's.
But
stuff happens.
but with that, though, they're still only a half game behind first place. Now
Yeah.
they need a little bit of help. They can be a first place team. And like we said, if they win their first these first 2 games coming up on Friday against Augustana first, and then Wayne State the second one, which is Fieldhouse night. They get a little bit of help from Concordia St. Paul. They could be facing Concordia St. Paul possibly the next weekend, for that first round, the next week for that first round game. So really, it's undecided. Again, the Dragons currently sit 14-6, 18-6 overall. St. Cloud State just a half game ahead, 15-6, 19-6 overall. They play Concordia St. Paul, who's right now in 9th. They're fighting for their lives because they need a chance to win. They do that. They get some help from Northern State with a loss. Who knows? We could be facing them. Again, Bemidji State's tied with us, but we beat them twice. They face Upper Iowa and Winona State. And then Southwest Minnesota State, who's a half game sitting in 4th place, plays Mankato. So really, the Dragons, same thing. Take care of business. You win both games, you're at least second. If you lose one, who knows where they can finish up, right?
Yeah, who knows?
It's that close.
Who knows? But, if we win one, we host a playoff game. That's the big thing.
Yep.
We want to host a game. We haven't done it in a long time, and I want to give away more stuff. Everyone knows I like giving away stuff, but I want to see that home game, and just need to win one.
Yep, just one. Just one.
That's all we need to lock it up, and there's still a chance where we could lose both and still get it, in the worst case scenario. But there's someone that could sneak in there, and we don't even know who that is at this point. There's so many scenarios floating around. And, we tried to look at it, and I Colin and Steve DeStacio does another phenomenal job breaking down the playoff picture with us. And, we see that the 2 wins obviously lock it up. 1 win locks up the home game, and who we play, it's not going to be settled until the last buzzer on Saturday night anyway. Mm-hmm. So sitting here talking about all the different scenarios is fun, and it's hypothetical. But, there are definitely a bunch of matchups you can see as the 5, 6, 7, and 8s come into play, the 1, 2s, 3s, and 4s. It's going to be a good game either way because there's so much balance. I'm honestly just glad we don't have to play, Bemidji, who's we've beaten twice, but dang, they're a tough team.
Hard to beat 3 times.
And St. Cloud, I know the guys would like another crack at them, but at the same time, they're a great team too. So you've got teams all over the place that can beat you.
Yep.
And really beat you, and you got to be on your night. But hopefully we get the home game and go to Rochester with some momentum.
And on Friday night, which is Alumni Night, they play Augustana sitting 6th in the conference right now, 12-8. And then the Fieldhouse on Saturday, they face Wayne State at 7-13 in the conference, which is currently in 10th. So 2 favorable matchups for the Dragons. Two games that they can for surely win if they have a good solid night like they did against Winona State. But if they play defensively the second half like they did against Upper Iowa, we could be talking about a different story for 1 or 2 games. But let's hope that they get 2 wins and we can have a playoff game that we can talk about Monday and we know who they'll be playing and the time and all that stuff.
We all know they show up when there's a crowd.
Yep.
We've seen it time and time again. Go Pink, close game against Northern, won it. Close game against Upper Iowa here, won it. Every time that there's a good crowd in Nemzik, they play very, very well at home.
Yep.
And if not, they put on a good overtime show. But we want the people to come and support the Dragons, not only because it's Alumni Night, not only because it's Fieldhouse. It's senior night too. These are your last chances you're going to get to see some of these players, especially on the women's side. We're going to be honoring swimming and diving and cheer and possibly dance if I could read my text message in a little bit at the women's game on Saturday. But this is still a good situation, good basketball, lots of giveaways, and Friday is going to be a great night too. Games galore, games, dunk hoop, alumni will be there, Buffalo Wild Wings, so much fun stuff going on. You got to be there. And one of my interns, Cameron, who was on the show last week, just was talking about how people would have to be insane not to come to Fieldhouse.
That's for sure.
We picked up. Colin was there.
I was there.
We loaded up our cart,
Oh.
each one of our little handbags with everything we could carry.
That's right.
Several times, and brought it back to the counter and said, "Okay, what are our bids?" And I was low, and Colin was low, but we wanted to spend $1,000. We spent $1,007.
That's right.
We were that close on our first try.
That's right.
And so we had to just leave it as is. So we don't have $1,000. We have $1,007 worth of merchandise we're going to be giving away, and can't wait to do that. And it's going to be.
And we're actually going to get more, too. We're going to get some backpacks.
Yeah. Well, we were trying to think of a good way to give it away because, it's not a TV game. We don't have all those media timeouts like we will on Friday night where Buffalo Wild Wings is just going to go crazy and giving out stuff. But Saturday, we don't have all those media timeouts. So we really have to give out everything for every single timeout.
Yep.
And so we wanted to put it into bins. Well, why buy a bin? So we just got the nicest Under Armour Dragon logo backpacks that we could find at the bookstore. I think they retail for $80, and we're going to fill up 8 of those with bookstore items. So we've got free pizzas from Papa John's. We've got Red Hawks tickets in there for lower reserve seats, and a bunch of prizes from all of the sponsors who've been supporting Dragon Athletics so well all year long. And we're just going to fill up those bags and hand those out during timeouts. And you'd have to be insane not to come there. And then we talked about some of the Valley Imports stuff today. Met with Jeff Richmond over at Valley Imports and Todd Ganji at Travel Incorporated. And they've got, I'm telling you, we're talking not only really cool trips to Vegas, Orlando, New York, Jamaica, Alaska. We're talking, maybe, Alaska be the trip of a lifetime. Yeah, but we're going to throw in with Vegas a panoramic view, a hotel room of the Strip, King Suite. We're going to give you a first-class airfare. We're going to give you a limousine service. We're going to give you a champagne tour of Las Vegas. We're going to give you a helicopter ride. I mean, these are just some of the activities that we're going to bundle into these vacations to make the winner have a really tough decision when they come down and have to decide, where am I going?
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the tough part. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so tough.
Yeah, it is. And we're trying to make it tough. We want them to sweat it out. We want them that winner's going to have to decide right there and then where they're going.
Yep.
We will work with when afterwards, but they need to figure out where they're going of those 5 locations.
Before I leave the court.
Exactly. Right there and then. And so it's going to be, we want them to sweat it out. We want them to really think about it and do something really fun. And hopefully, we'll be able to follow them on their trip and their journey and, be able to kind of take part in that and hype up next year whatever Valley Imports can come up with.
That's for sure. And let's cross over now to the women's side of things. And the women currently are 7th at 11-9, 14-10. They got their winning streak snapped on Friday night against Winona State, but they came back and had a nice win against Upper Iowa. Currently, again, they're finished 7th in the rankings, just a little bit ahead of a couple teams, a game and a half ahead of both Northern State and St. Cloud State. Northern State plays University of Mary. St. Cloud State plays Concordia St. Paul. They're just a half game back of 6th place with Southwest Minnesota State plays Minnesota State Mankato. They're a game back of Winona State in 5th, 2 games back of Duluth in 4th, and they get the top 2 teams coming into Nemzik this weekend with Augustana on Friday night, the 23rd nationally, not regionally, nationally ranked, and then Wayne State, the number 3rd team in the nation. Augustana 16-4, 19-5 overall. Wayne State 18-2 in the conference, 24-2 overall. And guys, before we talk about what they did this past weekend against Winona State and Upper Iowa, the first 2 times they played against these teams, against Augustana and Wayne State, what do they need to do differently this time to make it, okay, not just a competitive game for that matter, a 40-minute game, but a chance at the end to come up with a W and, again, take control of their own destiny? Because they're just like the men. If they win 2 games, if they win a game, they could be moving up. If they lose 2 games, then it really becomes into the hands of what happens to Northern State, what happens to, Winona State, and so on. What do you guys think?
Well, if I knew that, I'd sell it to
That's right.
Coach Nelson for a lot of money. I think I'd sell it to every team across the country trying to beat those 2 teams.
Yep.
Man, to beat those 2 teams, you've got to play 40 minutes of flawless basketball. And there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Even if then, hope to be in the game at that point. They're just so deep and so strong and move the ball so well. It's really, really tough to get in there and disrupt their game.
Yeah.
It really is. And even in our house, which we'll hopefully have great turnouts for once again, we've got to shoot the ball very efficiently, not forcing shots, no forcing turnovers. You got to play sharp, polished basketball. And if anybody can get him to do that, it's Coach Nelson. I mean, she's about discipline, and I don't think anybody will argue that. But she knows how to get her players to do and fit into the system and into the scouts that Swen and Sobes both put together. And they'll be ready. They'll absolutely be ready. But it's a game of streaks, basketball, and if you can't get on one or end one, or find some way to keep your streak going a little bit longer, you're going to get buried real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest part of it is a strong start. I think you need to make yourself believe in that first 5 minutes that you can be in the end of that game.
Yep.
You need to come out in the first 5 minutes and really feel like you can beat this team, and repeat that in the second half, because they're going to try to do the same thing like that was a fluke and try to come at you really hard the second half. You need to prove it at the beginning of each half, and if you can do that, you're definitely going to have a chance at the end, because it helps on the defensive end. It helps your team just get that much more excited and much more movement going on. But that's mine. What do you think, Colin?
I couldn't agree with you more.
Silent.
Yep.
He's a stat
I'm the
guy,
quiet
right?
guy. Yeah, I'm more the stats guy. You ask anybody in the office, I'm the quietest guy in there. So I just stick to my work and don't talk too much. Not like Webbie.
Yeah, well,
Webbie here.
Oh, you're saying I like to talk a lot?
Well.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, before we start World War III in Dragonville here,
Fired! So fired!
I forgot you were going.
Wait, you got your job back.
Oh, thanks.
let's talk about the game on Friday night and what they didn't do well, and then what they did well on Saturday night to really make up for not getting swept over this weekend and coming out with a 1-1 road trip, which is always first priority when you're in an SIC. Trying to go 1-1 if you can have a chance at a sweep. They lose to Winona State 79-47. Just at the half, though, they were down by 9. 36-27. Second half, though, if you just take the half, 43 for Winona State, 20 for the Dragons in that one. And some stats that pop out at me right off the bat, guys, is the Dragons shoot 33% from the field, 23% from beyond the arc. They only got to the free throw line 12 times in that game, where Winona State got to the free throw line 28 times, and they shot 23 for 28. But Winona State, they shot 25 for 53, 47% from the field. Only shot 30% from beyond the arc. So really, it comes down to it. The Dragons didn't have their greatest offensive net, obviously, in the second half, and they didn't get to the rack or get to the free throw line like Winona State did. When Winona State has 15 more free cracks at the rim compared to what the Dragons got.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about playing aggressive. I truly believe basketball always goes to the more aggressive team.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's no less on the women's side as the men's side. And I know, Colin, you and I were talking about DJ Hamilton's 34-point performance at Bemidji, but he scored how many from the free throw line? At least 10 to
It was
I
like
think he had 13.
Yeah.
Okay, he had
13.
13 free throws out of 34 points.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you think about that, he's playing aggressive.
Yep.
And, you look at that stat, and I see Winona State playing aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And, they got Player of the Week this week, rightfully so, after sweeping the weekend, and, laying a licking on us.
Mm-hmm.
And they did. And they played aggressive basketball.
And when playing aggressive, you got to stay smart, too. Take those smart shots. Take those smart shots. Draw on the foul. That's how you got to get in the lane there, try to put something up and draw that foul. And, those free throws, they can just be guaranteed points, but it's all in their hands. So
Yeah, and with that game, too, Angie Jeffvig finished the game with 8 rebounds and 8 total points in that one. Then the following night against Upper Iowa, the Dragons win 97-57, so they took out some fury on the Peacocks there. And Jeffvig finished the game with 31 total points, 18 rebounds, an Alex Novak type of rebounding performance night. But, and you look at it this time, playing aggressive, 8 for 12 from the free throw line against Winona State. This game, 28 for 37. They got to the rack, got to the free throw line 37 times. And Webbie, you talk about playing aggressive. They also shot 50% from the field. And they only had 8 turnovers in that game with 16 assists. Great turnover to assist ratio. But obviously, when you get to the free throw line 25 more times in game 2 of the 2-game series, that says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. You can look at the stat sheet. Look at the numbers. Those are 2 different teams. Those are absolutely 2 different teams. And so you want to obviously put your best foot forward, but you got to be able to win when you don't. And that's why this weekend is so scary for the women. You can't
put what you did against Winona State.
Can't not do.
Is there too many negatives that makes it a positive?
Yes.
Like math?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because I'm so good at math, as my interns told me today. It's you really need to put your best foot forward against those 2 teams, and I just hope that they have that kind of game and that kind of a focus coming into, especially against Augie, because I think Augie's a team that they could get and really, really give them some leverage. I mean, if they get a split this weekend, I think Carla Nelson is ecstatic.
Yeah,
I would be.
Yep.
I mean, it's something you coach to get two, you hope to get one, but everyone expects you to get none.
And you play Augie the first night, so Friday night, you know, if you can come out with a win, that'd be a huge momentum going against Wayne State the second night. And like we talked about, anytime you're a head coach, no matter you play the worst team in the conference or the best team in the conference, you always want a chance to win at the end of the game. Whether it's a good win or whether it's the most ugly win that you've seen,
Yep.
you know, coaching basketball, as long as you always have a chance to win, that's what you want.
Absolutely. And, you know, you talk about the close games that we've had on the men's side. Absolutely. They've been giving themselves chances to win, and they've won. And the only time that they haven't was Saturday. I mean, they've won every single close game this year except for that one. The women, you know, they had the triple overtime game in Bemidji that they pulled out with banked threes and, you know, a lot of luck that we talked about last week. But you've really got to just put yourself in the opportunity, and the men had it. I mean, I was listening, and I know we talked about it today with Charlie's three. You know, as soon as you talked about with like 5 seconds left, you know, down one or down two, Charlie throws up a three, and just the kind of year that we were having, I was expecting it to go in.
Yep.
I think everybody was, and we missed. They board, we foul, we lose by 4.
Yep.
It all came down to one shot. 40 minutes of basketball came down to one shot in the last 5 seconds. And the women, you know, when they've been putting themselves in that kind of situation, they've been doing pretty well. But against two teams that are ranked higher and thought to be better, you've got to at least give yourself that chance.
And again, Northern State, a team that's right below them, a game and a half out. They play the University of Mary, the number 3rd ranked team in the NSIC in the standings wise, and then St. Cloud State also a game and a half back. They play Concordia St. Paul. So, I mean, the Dragons are sitting pretty good right now in 7th place. They still control their own destiny. Like you said, if they win one game, who knows what can happen, because Minnesota State Mankato is only a half game up. So they can move from 7th to 6th and vice versa. So I think both for the guys and women's games, if you don't come out to these games to support the Dragons, you must have a broken leg, and you must, you know, not. I don't understand it, because the men are currently sitting in 2nd, the women are currently in 6th. Both have a chance to obviously make a lot of things happen in an NSIC tournament coming up, and can really build both, not just one program, but both programs to what we're hoping to see Dragon basketball, not just next year, but 5 years from now as well.
Yeah, and you know, we've unveiled that, you know, there's going to be so much more to look forward to. There's going to be new scoreboards, new floors, new hoops, new sound systems that are going to be going in. That's going to add to that game environment even more. I mean, this is going to be a sports venue to remember every game, and you need to come now and be a part of it, because it's going to be so much fun next year. But this is it. This is the last games you're going to get to see. This is the last hurrah for us promotions-wise. I know we're all kind of exhausted from everything going on.
And both the games Friday, the women tip off at 6, the men tip off at 8. And is that the same thing on Saturday as well, or is that a 4 and 6 game on
4 and
Saturday?
6 Saturday.
Okay.
So it's nice and early, so you can bring
the family, right?
Bring the family, encourage your family. I know I've got interns getting their families to the game because they want to win the iPad 2 we're giving away.
Or the trip to Vegas, right? Or anywhere else.
Last chance to qualify for that is Friday. So you got to come Friday if you want to win the vacation.
Yep.
So come Friday.
2 for 1, right?
2 for 1?
Well, maybe not 2 for 1, but if you win, if you win the iPad, it's like a 2 for 1, right?
You could still win both the Valley Imports and the iPad.
Or Wild Wings gear that they're all giving away on Friday.
Man, you could triple up. I could draw your ticket number, and you could get, you know, some bookstore stuff. I mean, you could win so much stuff. I mean, we're not joking. $10,000. These vacations range anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000. And I'm trying to make them all at least $650 or $6,500. $650. What is it? Trip to Sicily. Yeah. But no, you're going to get $6,500 worth of a vacation given away that night, and $1,000 worth of $1,007 worth of bookstore stuff. So there you're at $7,507 already, and we're not even talking about all the other gifts. No. The iPad 2, there's an extra $500 given away there. So we've got tons of stuff all over the place. $10,000. We're right there, still waiting for a couple sponsors to come in with their stuff, but it's going to be a blast, and it's just going to be fun. The crowd's going to be nuts. Nemzik Noise is going to go nuts. It's going to be epic.
You should get there for the women's game, like at 5:30 to get a good seat, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what because Nemzik Noise is going to fill that one bleacher, and we're going to have all the bleachers down, right, for this one coming up.
We're going to have I think our capacity is 4,000 without standing room.
Can you hang people in the rafters? Is that a possibility for GA?
Well, we could jump. We could jump it up there. No, you gotta come. I mean, we're gonna be doing some cool stuff. We're gonna have a time lapse of people piling in and going, and so that'll be fun to see everyone pile in and get really crazy for a Dragons game. And this doesn't happen. I played, I coached, I've been a part of Dragon basketball for a long time, and part of the Dragons team now across the board. But this is something that I've wanted to see for a long time. And I'm not going to miss it. No way.
No way.
No.
Not at all.
No, well, they won't let me.
Well, yeah, you're giving all the prizes away, right?
I think Peters would kick my rear end if I just said, "Yeah, I'm sick." It's like, "Oh, okay, I'll take over." No.
And then with that too, some other teams that are doing a phenomenal job. We had Keith Barnett in here just a couple weeks ago on Dragons Live.
We're trying to get him in here tonight.
Trying to get him here. Well, if you can't come in here, maybe next
He's
Monday.
just trying to win a national championship.
Yeah, not that big of a
deal.
Big deal.
But let's talk about some of the runners that they got for them, especially one, Laquan Robinson, who just won, right? The heptathlon just this past week.
No big deal.
So
just set the school record, in the heptathlon.
Yep. One of our interns, so I'll give him a shout out.
So, I mean, again, Laquan Robinson won the NSIC heptathlon by placing first in 3 of 7 events. Robinson won the 60-meter dash with a time of 7.07 seconds. A run of 8.27 gave him first in the 60-meter hurdles, while a jump of 7.02 meters helped him to win the long jump. This marks the second straight year Robinson has won the NSIC heptathlon, guys. I mean, that's just one of the great runners and one of the great people that they have on that track and field team on the guys side before we even talk about the women's side coming up. So,
and I know our strength's the outdoor, but wow, we're proving some things indoor that's going to look really nice when we get to the outdoor season.
Yeah.
And you're going to talk about the women here in a little bit, it sounds like, but even our other intern, I got to shout out to Uche. Uche did personal best and did very well in the hep, and it's really nice just to see their improvement. I mean, not only are they very, very talented and they're improving personal best everywhere, and that's just a testament to our coaching staff. They're getting them in the right shape for what they're doing, and it's paying off.
And it's not just like you were saying; it's not just the Derek Brady's of the world or the Laquan Robinsons of the world. It's the freshman that's coming in and on his first event to compare to what he's done. Just his last meet, you can already see the time difference between
absolutely just saving seconds. I mean, you think tenths of seconds in some of the other races, but these are people, and in the swimming and diving side as well, just shaving ridiculous amounts of time off of their personal bests. And it just shows that Dragon Athletics across the board is going in a phenomenal direction.
It's going to be that makeover that's happening at Nemzik, right?
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's everything to do with our coaches. And we've got some of the best coaches we could ever ask for. And they're doing a phenomenal job. And the student athletes are showing us that they are.
Yep.
And they're proving it. So shout out to our coaches doing a phenomenal job. I can't stop saying shout out.
Shout out.
Someone needs to slap me. It's like Uche every time he plays "Whip My Hair Back and Forth" at basketball.
We
that song is
him
officially
on that
banned from basketball music because of him.
If you hear that Uche, that means they're testing you to see if you can play this weekend.
Someone's getting hit. Not by me because I don't hit my intern. Intern on intern is okay. What they've told me.
And then on the women's side too for the track. Anna Van Wetschel finished third in the 1 mile run at the Iowa State Classic with a time of 4 minutes 48 seconds, only 3 seconds behind the first place finisher from Nebraska. Just 3 seconds from a D1 person, a Big Ten now Nebraska runner. Her time was an automatic qualifier for the NCAA championships by over 2 seconds. The automatic qualifying time is 4 minutes and 51 seconds. And that's just what it is now, not to mention what can happen for, like you said, in the outdoor season. She was the NSIC Women's Track Athlete of the Week, while on the flip side, Laquan Robinson was the Field athlete of the week. So again, it's not just in one sport where someone's the athlete of the week. It's in multiple sports that we're seeing this.
Four in 1 week. I mean, that's never happened. Ever happened to us before. Men's and women's basketball, men's and women's track. Incredible. The only thing more that we could have possibly gotten was wrestling, and he was the week before.
That's right.
I mean, it's just insane. And it's week in and week out that we're seeing this stuff. I mean, yeah, that was a great week for us, but it's
even be better this week, right?
Yeah, it absolutely. And, you know, I think we expected the swimming and diving to do very well, and they did very well. A lot of personal bests.
Down in San Antonio, Texas, they got 499 points as a team, giving them 4th place in the conference, and they're in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference.
Which will be the
NSIC. We had the head coach on just a couple weeks ago again. So, I mean, he gave us a little info about that, telling us that the NSIC will be coming up with a swimming and diving conference and program and everything. So that's going to help him just for travel-wise. I mean, obviously,
it's going to help us.
We know that he went down to Texas, and the last Texas qualifier and the national championships are also in Texas, but now you don't have to worry about playing teams from Colorado or swimming. You can swim against Duluth and St. Cloud State just, a couple hours away.
Yeah, and it helps our confidence. I mean, so much, because we've got teams. St. Cloud is a great team, swimming and diving-wise. And, just getting into that group with all those elite teams is something that we, as a conference, obviously very excited about. And since we're competitive in the RMAC already, which is a great conference too, we plan to come into the new NSIC swimming and diving conference
and on a roll.
Oh yeah, I mean, it puts us at the hopefully in the heat for another championship. I'll try to say, because I know Todd wants it.
Can hang some banners, right?
Oh, we're looking at that. We'll see. I would love to hang anything that says champion on it.
Yep.
That's what I want. I want to see, eventually I want to see a national championship trophy hanging there, but, track and field getting their conference championships and men in the hunt for a conference championship. And, I mean, now we're talking national championships.
A lot of fun.
At the national level.
Yep.
It's amazing.
And the swimming and diving team for the girls that did make it, the 2012 NCAA D2 championships are being held in Mansfield, Texas this year, March 13th through the 17th. So they still got about a little less than a month to still prepare themselves and get ready for that. And if you heard our interview with the head coach, he's talking about how these girls are having a lot of two-a-days. And if you're an outsider and don't realize that for what it goes into swimming and diving, we all know about football, basketball, any other sport, volleyball, where you're on the court, maybe do a little bit of lifting, off and on as well throughout the season. But those swimmers, they're in that gym, and not the gym, they're in the pool, 5 a.m. in the morning for 2 hours and go to class, and they're back at it at 4 in the afternoon. And there's 4 or 5 hours of swimming in their day, every day.
Yeah, I guess I can always admire a student athlete, but I know because I went through it. I didn't play, but I know what it's like to go to practice every day, and but swimming is. My sister was a swimmer, and she was not great, but she practiced all the time.
It's a lot of time.
It's a passion. It's an absolute passion. You've got to just love cruising through some water. Love it. I'm not a lover of that, but put me on that high dive and I'll make a belly flop to make it all.
Let the water. How much water will be out of the pool then?
I'm kind of scared.
So maybe we'll give you an inch.
Yeah, give me that 3-meter board. We'll throw down.
Give you an inch. But again, Dragons Live next week. Next Monday we'll actually know when the men and women's basketball teams, when they'll be playing, who they'll be playing, what time. What can we expect? Can they both get down to Rochester for the following weekend and possibly have a chance to not also be a top 4 team in the NSIC, but a chance to be a conference champion, not regular season, but tournament champion, which also gets you that AQ spot into the Division II playoffs with the regions and everything. And like you said before, the region for the Dragons, if they do get past NSIC and they do get to the next level for both the men or women, will be against teams from the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, correct?
Incorrect.
Okay.
Wayne is for the women.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying they'll place conference teams against the Rocky Mountain in their region, right? If they get by the NSIC tournament,
yeah,
right?
You're right.
Okay.
The first round, the second round will be obviously the winners. But
okay.
It's the men go to Colorado, women go to Wayne.
Okay.
If they both win on Wednesday.
Okay.
And so we're hoping to get both teams through on Wednesday, go to a regional, just because that playoff experience is something that you need.
Invaluable.
Yeah, you need to build a program around that kind of experience. And the men, they want to get there so that Alex in his senior year, Novak in his senior year can see that. and know and be comfortable the next time they get back into that they know what it's like to be there. And the women, they're there all the time. I mean, Carla's got a history of going to that level, and so we want to see the women repeat that history. We want to see the men begin that history again.
So after the NSIC tournament, like Webbie said, the women will be hosting at Wayne as the host, and then out in Colorado for the men for the D2 with that one. And I think a team that you can say across the river that experienced NDSU's football team from their playoff run that they had 2 seasons ago to the playoff run that they had this season. I think a lot of people, like you just said right there, took that experience, and they had a lot of juniors, a lot of underclassmen on that team, and they really took it to the next level the following season. I think we're both expecting that from the women's with some of the girls that they got on their team. Obviously, going to be losing a couple of key players, but if you can get that experience under the belt, get that little, dragon blood going a little bit more, and same thing with the men, bringing back a couple guys next year as well that can say, okay, we've been through this. We went through the NSIC tournament. We got to the semifinals or the championship or quarterfinals. We got to taste that. We got to go to the regions. We got to go to Colorado. We got to see some great games when we were watching them. And then we also got to be a part of a great game as well, or maybe multiple games, depending on how far it goes. Because you never know what happens when you put any team in a tournament. If they play hot for 3 days, they can be a bracket buster or a bracket killer like we see every year. And hopefully the Dragons can be that for both the men and women on, just a couple weeks.
Yeah, and hopefully we can go in and play some of those RMAC schools. And it's the only time we really get to compare.
Yeah,
to people in our region. I mean, we play our conference and say our conference is the best. Well, we get to prove it. We absolutely do. We see our guys and our women in the playoffs and the Final Fours all the time, and Winona and their men's national championships.
Yeah, that streak of 50-some games it was there.
Oh yeah, and Mankato. I mean, you just look at all of those teams. St. Cloud's are always in the hunt. Back in the day with Northern always being there, and just. You can't ever count us out, especially now with our league and how it's grown. And it's nice to see that comparison across the region of teams that are nationally ranked in the country, and we're going to go in there as an unranked team in the country, and we're going to give you a run for your money.
Yep.
We definitely are, and it's great to see that comparison to other Division II schools.
For sure, and again, the men play against Augustana on Friday night. Tip time is at 8 o'clock. Don't forget about the women. They play at 6 o'clock on Friday night against Augustana. And then on the Fieldhouse night, which is on Saturday night, get there probably at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I mean,
just camp outside.
Tip-off's not till 4 o'clock for the women's game against Wayne State, who's 3rd nationally ranked. Augustana's 23rd on the women's side nationally ranked. The men play Wayne State on Saturday night at 6 o'clock for the tip time with that men. And again, Friday night is Alumni Night. Buffalo Wild Wings going to be sponsoring that. Game's going to be on Midco, so there's going to be a lot of stuff going on at Alex Emsick Fieldhouse this week. And that's just with basketball. We're not even talking about softball. Slowly going to be hitting the field here around the corner. Tennis is already going. You got track and field with the indoor conference championship coming up, the national indoor championship at Mankato as well.
Outdoor.
and then swimming and diving now with the chance for a couple of girls to possibly take home a 10th or 5th or maybe being a national champion if everything goes right for them.
I mean, it's the best and busiest time of the year. I mean, not only from all this. I mean, you tell that to Colin.
Yeah, I didn't know.
How many? I mean, we got the 2 basketballs, track and field, not soccer, but we did write the release, the football signing day release. So we were busy with that.
With football too, you got spring practice coming up.
Spring games coming up. We're
soccer has spring even.
Volleyball's practicing right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got tennis going, softball going. We've got everybody. We're keeping track of everybody in the office, and not only that, we decided to go and just have a lot of fun and give away a bunch of stuff using the support that our sponsors give us. And for us, it's the cream of the crop event. Except for the Dragonfire Walk,
which is coming up.
Even in the radar. I mean, we'll be promoting that at the events, and there's so much stuff going on. You can't miss it. We're exhausted, and we love it. And that's the only way that we can push ourselves to what we're doing is giving away 10 grand worth of stuff and keeping track. It's 135 sports at once, and loving it. And so we just want all the Dragon fans and the Dragon Nation to come and love it with us.
That's for sure. And again, thanks, Colin and Webbie, for taking the time out of your day on this Monday. Again, we'll be back next Monday, and we will for surely know. No more hypothetical stuff. No more. Will they be playing Duluth or will they be playing Wayne State?
We'll talk playoffs.
We'll talk about the matchups. We'll talk about what the strengths and weaknesses are of the teams that we're going to be playing against, where they're going to be playing, who will the men be playing, will the women possibly have to go on the road. Everything falls stars align for the women this weekend.
We'll know whether
They
or not
could.
we have a track and field conference
This is
championship.
true. This is true. Very true. And again, congratulations goes out to both Anna Van Winchell with that one, with finishing just a couple seconds behind the D1 runner in the mile there, and then also to Laquan Robinson for taking home the heptathlon conference championship. And I think any time, whether it's an individual in a sport like track and field, which is a team sport, but also an individual sport, or football or basketball, anytime you get a conference championship, I think that's a lot to be said about that program, about the players and athletes that are within that. So,
and the men wanted to repeat.
Yep.
I mean, they were indoor and outdoor last year.
Got to do it again, right?
I mean, 2 rings are better than 1.
Breed success.
Ask
Michael Jordan about that. Yeah, ask him about how he's
Is
feeling.
2 better than 1? Oh, yeah, I think so.
Well, again, thanks to Collin, thanks to Webbie. Get your butt to the games this weekend. Friday night tip-off, 6 o'clock for the women, 8 o'clock for the men. Saturday, 4 o'clock, and then 6 o'clock for the men. You probably want to get there at noon for your seat with all the prizes that they got. And like Webbie and Collin are doing on Dragon Athletics YouTube, we're waving you goodbye. We'll be talking to you next Monday from 2 to 3 right here, same place. Try to get a coach on or a couple players as well.
Yeah, we'll see if we
as
get
much
some
as we
conference
can possibly
champions
do. And we'll let you know about anything and everything that's going on. And before then, go to MSUMDragons.com for the latest Dragon athlete and Dragon sports gear. Or, bookstore if you want the gear, right? Bookstore.
Yeah, go to the bookstore.
Bookstore.
Buy stuff.
Buy stuff. Buy a lot of stuff. Well, not the stuff that you're giving away,
a
right?
bunch of stuff away.
I might, like I'm with Collin here. Hold off until
just wait until
Okay.
after Saturday, then go to the bookstore. But for now,
Yeah,
there we go.
absolutely. And then we'll fill out some door hangers. We got coupons going out to all the dorms here in just a little bit, with pizza coupons and bookstore coupons and Buffalo Wild Wings stuff. I mean, we'll send you some coupons here if you're on campus and want to keep supporting the Dragons.
Sounds like a plan. Again, MSUMDragons.com, or catch me next Monday right here on Dragons Live from 2 to 3 on KMSC. Thanks, and we'll see you next Monday. And as always, go Dragons.